In this time, we are with Dr. Vicki Phillips. She is the Chief Education Officer at the National Geographic Society and for nearly a decade as the Director of Education College Ready at the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. Thank you so much for joining, Dr. Vicki Phillips.
Oh, thank you for having me. I'm very honored to be here.
Thank you for your time. I really appreciate your effort to join in this conversation. So first, I really want to hear your journey as a person and as a professional.
So I'll start with the personal. You know, I grew up on a small farm in a little place called Falls of Rough, Kentucky in America, where we grew vegetables, raised nearly everything we ate. And I grew up with this sense of what it's like to live in a rural place where you fend for yourself and you look out for your neighbors. But I was very connected because I grew up in the country to this natural world around me. And I had this driving curiosity that inspired my love of learning. And whenever I had a free moment, after dinner in particular, I'd go down the field, cross the creek, and read a book in the nook of a tree until dark. And it was actually reading that took me everywhere, that let me explore the whole world. Through the pages of those books, I learned about faraway places and experiences, from the wildebeest migration of the Serengeti to going on sea voyages with explorers. And that learning took me everywhere and sort of opened my eyes to what might be possible.
Yeah, what I really love about your story is that you get new perspectives, and those perspectives make us to grow as as a human being and to know that there are a lot of possibilities to achieve reading. It's amazing to know new stories, new characters that inspire you because sometimes you feel lost. And knowing this, meeting these new characters make you realize that you are not alone.
Well, it was a really important time for me because, you know, as a farm girl, I wasn't pushed very hard in school. And because I came from a very poor community, no one really expected me to succeed. And as I got older, I definitely wasn't pushed to go into higher education. No one in my family had ever done that. And leaving my home to even go to college was almost seen as a betrayal by my family and community. So actually, when I decided to go to college, my family disowned me. And it was a very challenging time for me, but I wanted to fight for my education. And I wasn't willing to accept that what was expected of me growing up would determine where I would end up. And, you know, thankfully, I ended up having a great relationship with my family over time, but it was a really rocky moment for me. And I think it was that driving curiosity and love of learning and having gone to other places in my imagination that gave me the courage to step out of my and my community's comfort zone and pursue other things.
That's really amazing because what I noticed with my students, some people is that they feel that they don't have any opportunity and they don't get the support for the family or friends or in general. So they start believing that they don't matter to the world. So they don't want to do something else. So it's really amazing that you wanted to pursue an education. But I really want to know what really like what was the thing that made you realize that you wanted to change your reality?
Well, interestingly enough, it was a peer. Like, I think there was something in me, like I said, that had this driving curiosity and this love of learning. And I knew from all of the voracious reading I did, I read everything I could get my hands on, that there was a bigger world out there that I didn't know anything about and didn't even quite know how to experience. And when I was in high school, the kids from the poor end of the community converged with the kids that were more affluent, and a peer that I met actually pushed me to go to college. And she practically yelled at me saying, "What do you mean you're not going to college? You're as smart as I am. You're as capable as I am. Of course you're going to college." And she actually helped me do that. She helped me go take the entrance exams for college, which I didn't know anything about. I didn't know those existed. She pushed me to apply for small scholarships. And she gave me the courage to actually leave my home when my family was disturbed, that I would do that and strive for something beyond. So I think the thing that I learned in that is one person, sometimes it's a peer, sometimes it's a teacher, sometimes it's someone else in your life. One person can make such a huge difference. And you personally can make a difference in somebody else's life. So I think that was a really important lesson for me to take away from those early years, and that I've tried to carry that into all of the work I've been fortunate to do over the course of my career.
Yeah, it's so true what you share. That sometimes a person can really make the difference on you, like to inspire you to do something. Because, as I said, sometimes we feel like lost or we don't really know what to do. But there is a person who can support your dreams and your goals. So I really believe that what we say to people matter. That we have the power to push the people to be whatever they want, to become whatever they want, and also we have the power to do the opposite. So we really need to be careful with what we say to people. Mhm.
Educators play such a powerful role
Mhm.
in making that difference, right? I look now in my role at National Geographic, where we work with a lot of young people and young explorers and others, and many of them say that they gained their love of nature and the environment and taking care of the planet when they were 8 and 9 years old. And a teacher sparked it by some lesson they did in class. And they, from there, they do all kinds of amazing things like plant a trillion trees, or, train children around the world. And you just never know when you're going to spark that in a student. And it's really, that's the power of educators, right? That they get an
Yeah.
opportunity every single day to spark that curiosity and love of learning that can last people for a lifetime and can literally take them anywhere.
Yeah, I remember that I always share this feeling with my students because they are teenagers, and as teenagers, they sometimes think that what they do doesn't matter. So we really need to remind our students that every action is important and they can become agents of change. It doesn't matter the age, it doesn't matter where you are from, it's only matter what you believe and what you want to change in the community. So related with to that, what are the actions that make a change in the community?
Well, I think there's all kinds of actions that can make a change, and those actions can be big or small, right? And, at National Geographic, one of the things we believe is that young people and the educators who reach them are key to solving some of the planet's most pressing problems. And so we're building out this large global community of young people, and, as you know, a large global community of educators. And we affectionately refer to all these young people that we're cultivating as Gen Geo, right? That they are young people who think critically, who collaborate globally, who are inspired to seek solutions, some small, some large. And I can't think of any more important thing to be doing to help impact change than empowering those young people to succeed, which is what educators do every single day by sparking that curiosity again and cultivating empathy for the earth and helping those young people have a sense of agency. Educators every day are making the world a better place. So, those young explorers remind me every single day of the power of education and the power of impact driven efforts, what those can have on scientific innovation and civic engagement and storytelling and more. And I think educators should never underestimate um, the amount of difference they make. So young people and sparking them is one thing. I also think that this issue around understanding geography, at National Geographic we have this big love of geography, and it's not just because it's kind of in our name. It's because geography is about seeing how things are related and making visible the connections. And so instead of memorizing places, you help students begin to find patterns and trends and help them understand that geography is kind of the art and science of understanding how what we do affects everything else, and how the earth shapes our way of life and we shape what happens to it. And it's such an important discipline for solving the problems of the 21st century. And so another way that we can have impact is for educators, whether you're a math educator, a science or social studies educator, even an art educator, you can infuse geography and geographic thinking and problem solving and this focus on solutions into your teaching in an ongoing way. And that too can spark impact around the planet.
Yeah, I can remember that before knowing more about National Geographic, I was like not really sure about what was geography. And I thought that because it's not my subject, it's something that I couldn't include into my teaching practice. And now I can include like you share like what we can do for the community, because and the connection that we can make with the students, because they really need to know that they are going to be working in a collaborative way all the time, and they need to know how to work with peers and how to find solutions, because in these days we really need to find solution for the problem that we are facing in this moment. And sometimes we don't really know how to do it. So with geography, we want to sit down and to know more about. So I'm really grateful for this, because as I said, I didn't know the power of geography.
Well, and if you're equipped with geographic thinking and kind of an explorer's mindset, right,
Yeah.
then those things in combination can help you think through issues at your local, in your individual household, at your community level, and in larger ways, depending on what you want to do. So I think, again, impacts can be small and large, and either one can add up to making a real difference in the world.
Yeah, getting new perspectives. I remember when I started the program, a Geo certification program, and I learned about the perspectives and about the local and how we can connect the local perspective to the global perspective, and to show to my students the different activities that people do around the world, or how we are related, maybe Mexico to another country, and how we are so familiar, how we can connect. And it is really awesome to feel that you are not alone, that you can connect between with your community and with other communities. And also I want to add the thing that you mentioned before about this Gen Geo, was this program about how you elevate the work of young people, because sometimes people don't really listen to young people, and with this community Gen Geo, we can notice that a lot of people have a lot to things to say and to share and to do in this planet. So it's amazing.
Yeah, one of our young explorers, in fact, she was in our first cohort. There's a quote by her I love that says, "Young people are the Earth's most untapped resource for hope." And I think, at Nat Geo, we understand that there's big challenges to be solved, but we're also very optimistic that we can have an impact on those, but that we can only have an impact on those by working with educators and young people and explorers and others around the world. And I do think that, young people have these amazing ideas, They believe in the interconnectedness of all these issues. They sort of get that everything is interconnected. They believe in the power of the collective. They're increasingly seeing themselves as global citizens, and they want to be focused on problem solving. Like, they're not so interested in just talking about what the problems are. They actually want to get into what can we do about them conversations. And that's, that's something we should keep supporting and, engaging and empowering them to come together. And in the same way that we want educators to be able to come together and have a network where they can share and learn from each other and work together wherever they are in the world, we want to enable young people to be able to do that also.
Yeah, I definitely can see that, and it's amazing all the things that this community are doing for the world. And this community is so huge that you can meet a lot of educators that are so passionate about what they are doing, and they are facing the challenges in the different communities where they are from. And I can say that we can relate the issues because, as you said, we should think as a global citizen, and that is a hard work and something that we need to put into the minds of the students, that they are connected, that they can do something. Because as you said before, it doesn't matter, it's a small step, it's as big as, as every action that people do. So related with all the things, I so inspired about how you also elevated work educators, because what I really see is that sometimes we don't really elevate what educators do, and we don't really care, and we only think that to be an educator is so easy. They only go to the school and talk, and they only grade the homework. So it's not a hard work. So I am a huge fan of how this Nigeria community elevates and supports what educators want to do.
So we wanted to be a place where educators could come and safely find great resources, share with each other, have conversations, be connected, be inspired, and have their voices elevated in all the ways that we can do that at National Geographic. So we've, as you know, are deliberately building this large, diverse network where, an educator community where teachers can come and do all of those things, and where, part of our goal is to equip educators with, game-changing content and resources and learning experiences for their young people that can be done wherever they are in the world. And we want to both have educators understand that those things are free and available to them. We want them to know that we have professional learning opportunities for them that are also free and very powerful. But mostly we want them to know that there's a community here of other educators who, have both similar and different experiences, and who are ready, willing, and able to share, to support, to commiserate, to celebrate, all those things that educators need to be able to do together. And that the most important thing to us is that community, and nurturing and recognizing and supporting educators along their journey.
I remember that at the beginning, I didn't know that National Geographic had like a field related with education, because sometimes you only hear National Geographic with exploration or with other things, but knowing that there are this community of Nat Geo is so amazing. And also the movement of Teacher Strong that makes you connect with other educators and to know new resources, and you can share strategies. So it's an amazing community where you are not alone, you're not isolated. And so what is the most meaningful experience that you have with the Nigeria education community?
Oh my goodness, there's so many. You know, there's so many examples. It's kind of hard to pick one, but I will say that one of the things that has happened in the last few months, as you well know, is that as the pandemic started around the world, one of our ed fellows actually put up a tweet that started Teacher Strong, right? Saying, oh my goodness, we all have to come together and figure this thing out together, because at least in our country, and I know elsewhere, teachers were asked to stand up virtual classrooms sort of virtually overnight. Many of them didn't have the training or the supports, or didn't feel like they had the skill set to do that, and they wanted help. And so we were able to start connecting them through Teacher Strong, and to help them both get the support they needed, find resources that really was going to work in remote learning, some that were no tech as well as some that were tech oriented, and to have a place to just share their hopes and their anxieties about doing this new kind of teaching. So for me, it's that the community constantly rises to the challenge of what the moment is and supports each other. And there's just example after example after example of that. And Teacher Strong is, definitely one of those examples. Educators come together, how educators and explorers come together in new ways. And that's probably the other thing that's so powerful about National Geographic's community, is that we have this whole array of explorers, from science to educators to storytellers and others that are explorers. And so many of those explorers are very tuned in to helping educators and want to. And so they step up in all kinds of ways and help us create content or conduct an explorer classroom for young people. But the assets that Nat Geo has, everyone has kind of been all in on supporting educators.
Yeah, I remember my story with Najio, and I had this huge opportunity of connecting with an explorer. He is a photographer. He came to my community, and it was like a big event because everybody was so excited. And he shared his work. He was working about to protect the environment. So the students didn't have this perspective about the environment, about to protect animals. So it was something new for them, to what actions they can do in the community. So it's really inspired all the work we do connecting with these people, and also all these fields like you say, storytelling, photography. It is amazing to know all these new fields that is not so common to see people working as a storyteller, was a photographer, was a documentary filmmaker. So it's amazing. I really appreciate these opportunities.
Wish I had, when I started my career as a teacher, I wish I'd known about, everything that Nat Geo offered, and particularly about, tapping into explorers, because they do some extraordinary work. But what's even more powerful about them is they're definitely willing to share that with educators and young people.
Yeah, thank you so much for your time and all the things that you share. I'm so inspired for your work and your story. Listening, hearing the stories like you share in this moment, I really appreciate that you have this time. So thank you.
Well, I hope many of your followers will join our educator community, because there are lots of educators like yourself and others who are totally willing to help support each other. And that's a very powerful thing. So thank you for letting me join you today. I'm honored.